Conclusion. All right. Oops, got one. All right. Introduction, body, conclusion are the three main parts. And then there's other important parts, very important parts of the essay that fit inside of those three things. First off, if you want to write an essay, you have to, of course, write it in paragraphs. Does everybody know what a paragraph is? You do, Ari? Tell us what a paragraph is. And he knows too? Great. Ari, can you explain a paragraph?
In a body.
Okay, yeah, you're both getting on to it right. It's information that you need to know, and there are paragraphs in the body, but the introduction itself is a paragraph too. It's yeah, and the thesis is in there. Good. So the introduction is one paragraph long, and inside it, it has the thesis. Everybody remembers that one. And the thesis is the main idea of the whole essay. Where does the thesis usually go? Does it go first or last in the introduction? Usually last. You can put it other places if you have a good reason, but usually last. Okay. So usually last in the introduction. Now, how about, is there anything else we should know about the introduction? What else is in there? I mean, we have the thesis statement, which is just one sentence usually. So what are the other sentences made up of? Well, we don't want to talk about the main ideas too much. We kind of save that for the body. Grabber, there you go. Huda suggested we get a hook or catch the reader's attention. Okay, they're called different things: a grabber, a hook, or getting the reader's attention. You want to have something pretty interesting up front so that the reader wants to keep reading. Okay. And then for our type of essays, we usually have some background information about the topic that we're going to discuss in the thesis, but we give a little background. We also need to have the name of the book and the author in the introduction, because that's important information that we need to put in there. So let me write some of these down. The reader's attention. Background info. And what was the last thing I said? Oh yeah, author and book. title. All right. So you have a lot of things to do in the introduction. So it's not hard to make it pretty good size. As for me, I say that a paragraph should be 6 or 7 sentences. Okay? Some teachers have different amounts that they expect from their students, but I expect 6 or 7 more is always fine and better, but at least 6 or 7. Okay? So you can see that you have a few things to do. How did I spell paragraph? I spelled HP instead of PH. Can I fix that? No, I don't think I can. Oh well. You know what I mean, yeah. All right, let's move on to body. So we have the main idea here, the thesis, and usually we have 2 or 3 parts that we're going to talk about. Good. Fatima tells us we need topic sentences and supporting ideas. So depending on how many body paragraphs we have or how many things we need to talk about, that's how many body paragraphs we need. But each body paragraph, and there needs to be more than one for the rest essays we're writing. Maybe if you're writing a really short essay, you could have just one, but for this class, you need more than one. Each needs a topic sentence. And where do we usually put the topic sentence? Yeah. Again, you can put it in a little bit other places, but only if you have a really good reason to. So it goes first. And then after the topic sentence for each one, you'll have support. Yeah, support is details, facts, interesting information. Obviously, you want to have some interesting information too. Examples, all that stuff that you're telling us that's going to give us information about those main ideas. This is where you do it in the support. So the support's very important. And this is a thing that students often do poorly on their portfolios, because we keep track of what students fail on. And aside from grammar, the biggest thing that students fail on is support, just not having enough. Because that makes us think you didn't read the book. Because if you read the book, you'd have plenty of ideas to write about. You'd have lots of information and examples and details that you could tell us. So that's where all that stuff comes from for this class, because we write about this book, Grit. In other classes, you may be coming up with details and information just out of your head because you're writing about your own personal experiences or something. But for this class, it's always going to be about grit. So every essay we do, except for this very first one, the literacy autobiography, will be about grit. Okay, so each topic sentence needs, or each body paragraph gets a topic sentence and support. Is there anything else we need to put in the body paragraphs? Yeah, I mean, that's just support. So yeah, no, you really don't need anything else. Okay, then I was wondering if somebody was going to come up with that one. Fatima said, what about a concluding sentence? And a lot of teachers teach concluding sentences. You don't have to have one for an essay like this. If you're writing a single paragraph, you definitely need one. But when you're writing an essay, you have the conclusion paragraph at the end. So you don't have to have a concluding sentence with each body paragraph. But if you've been taught to do that, it's perfectly fine and nice. And, you know, it's good to do it if you do it. If you don't do it, it's okay. Fatima, you wanted to ask a question? Your hand was up? Oh, okay. My mistake. All right. So that was body. And again, we'll have 2, 3, maybe 4 of those body paragraphs, depending on the information you have. Haneen, did you want to say something?
Yes, I'm sorry, but I'm having trouble with our internet today. It keep coming in and get off, so I don't understand anything. So if I go out, that not because I left, it's because I don't have internet.
Okay, I understand. Yeah, we'll try to save this and put it on, or I might make something a little clearer than this even and post it on Blackboard, which has all the parts, okay?
All right, thank you so much.
Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, go ahead and do that. That's great. Okay. Next thing is conclusion. It's just one paragraph long. And what kinds of things do we put in the conclusion? Summarize the body. Summarize. Good. Good. We do want to restate the thesis or summarize. That's really the same thing, because if you're summarizing, you're talking about your main ideas, which of course were in your thesis. Sometimes it's just students like to think of it as just paraphrasing your own thesis, restating your own thesis. It's the same thing though. So we have one paragraph and we need to summarize or restate thesis however you want to think about it. I'll put both. Okay. And well, that's not going to take up very much space. And we needed 6 or 7 sentences. What else could we do or should we do in a conclusion? What was that? Your opinion. You, okay, suggestion. Good. You guys are getting the idea. What I call this is a summary plus. You need something more. You can't just summarize what you said in the essay. So when you have the plus, a final thought, good. And I'll put plus here and we'll talk about what plus means. A summary plus is your parting thoughts, your takeaway message, something that's your opinion or suggestion or recommendation or thoughts about the future. Okay, all of these things are possible as this plus. What exactly you decide to do and write about kind of depends on the essay and what you want to say. Okay, so I can't tell you exactly do this, but I can give you lots of suggestions on different things you can do. So again, the plus is could be opinion, could be suggestion, could be parting thoughts, Oh, we're running out of space. I'll go back over here. Parting thoughts, take home message. It's what you want to leave your reader with as they finish up your essay. Oops, that one so you can see that. So if you had an essay about adopting pets from shelters instead of buying new pets, purebred pets from a breeder, your parting thoughts might be to suggest that if the person wants to get a pet, they should go to a shelter. Sorry, couldn't think of the word there for a minute. Go to a shelter and pick out a pet from the shelter. Okay, so you would suggest what they can do. Your parting thoughts could be things like, if we don't do something about pets in shelters, we're going to have, more pets than space in shelters in the next 10 years or something. Okay. So speculating on what could happen in the future. The opinion one, I want you to be just a little bit careful about, because in these essays that we're going to write this semester, we don't want to use I statements. Okay. So I don't want you to say, I think. So like the example I just gave about getting a pet from a shelter, you could say, I think you should get a pet from a shelter, if you want to get a pet, and I think you should not buy a pet from a breeder. Okay, that's one way to get your point across. But in these essays, we like to be a little more subtle and just say, it's important to get a pet from a shelter. Pets from breeders only contribute to the homeless pet problem. Okay, something like that. You're still getting your opinion across, but you're not saying, I think you should do this. And speaking of I statements, we forgot to mention this when we were up near the top of our essay. Where else should we not use the word I?
On the body paragraph.
In the intro, in the body paragraph. It is in the intro, what I'm thinking of, but it's a specific part of the intro. Thesis, there we go. Yep. You shouldn't use I statement in the thesis. Because again, saying I am going to write about dogs coming from shelters or dogs from breeders. Yeah, you get the point. It's very clear, but it's too straightforward. We like it to be a little less in your face. So it would be nicer if you said, dogs from shelters make up, this percentage of dogs on the streets, and dogs from breeders contribute to that problem, something like that. You can still say what you think. You just take the I out. Instead of saying, I am going to write about, a lot of students like to say, this paper is going to tell you. Don't do that either. Don't say either one of those. So just make a statement without using I or this paper is going to. And I can help you with those if you have trouble, but it's not as hard as it sounds to take the I out. Okay, so we have our essay here. This is not very pretty, but you can see all the different parts, and you know how many paragraphs each part needs. I'm going to add